end of the world. I could feel all this death.
Jean, it was just a dream.
You wander through the willows in the forest you have found.
I've been called many things over many lifetimes.
Trying to hide.
Ra, Krishna, Yahweh.
Ever since the world found out about mutants, there have been secret societies who see them as some kind of second coming or sign of God. They believe that tens of thousands of years ago, an ancient being was born, the world's first
Mutant. You are all my children. And you're lost. Because you follow blind leaders. But I am here now. I'm here for you.
Wherever this being was, he always had 4 followers he would imbue with power.
Like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. You got that one from the Bible.
Or the Bible got it from him.
What is it? Oh, God. He can control all of us. The world needs the X-Men.
That's why I'm here. To fight.
Not all of us can control our powers.
Then don't. This is war.
Everything they've built will fall. And from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one. Shut the fuck up!
Okay, that wasn't from X-Men Apocalypse. That was James McAvoy in Wanted, but really, would you really be that surprised if that came from Apocalypse? Because I swear to God, every bit of dialogue from Oscar Isaac as the villain in this is the most blandest, predictable, I'm better than you, we'll build a better world, all that. It's like shit we've heard before in many other movies with much better characters. But not here. Oh, no. It's one of those really, really bad weekends. Because not only do we have this, we have another bad sequel after that. But with that said, welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. And hey, how do you end off a pretty good month of movies that began with Captain America Civil War and continued with Money Monster, the Angry Birds movie, Neighbors 2, The Nice Guys? A really, really bad weekend. And sure enough, it's on Memorial Day weekend. Let's start off with the biggest of the new releases, X-Men Apocalypse. So since the dawn of civilization, he was worshipped as a god. Apocalypse, played by Oscar Isaac, the first and most powerful mutant from Marvel's X-Men universe, amasses the power of many other mutants, becoming immortal and invincible. Upon awakening after thousands of years, he's disillusioned with the world as he finds it as recruits a team of powerful mutants, including a disheartened Magneto, played by Michael Fassbender. Trust me, we're going to get to that, because that's another problem with this movie. To cleanse mankind and create a new world over which he'll reign, and blah, 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 blah. It's the plot we've seen done before way too many times. And not only that, let's throw in a little bit of Dark Phoenix in there, because, we'll get it right eventually, because, they tried to do this with X-Men The Last Stand, that didn't work. But it's going to work this time, because we got Bryan Singer back, man. And Bryan Singer, he'll come in and fix this, and no, he won't. Maybe Simon Kinberg will do it with the next one. No, he won't. It's just a point where it's just kind of like, at this point, there's if you can't get it right the third time, maybe don't try to do it at all. But, the X-Men movies have been a certain mixed bag, to say the least. I'm one of the few people that really did not like First Class. I know everybody else did, but I really didn't think that was a good movie. But Days of Future Past was pretty good, and, in this film, a lot of those problems that plagued X-Men First Class from being that great movie are back in this one big time. Let's start off with the obvious problem. One of the obvious problems right from the get-go. The overabundance of CG is so annoying in this. I mean, I'll give it credit. It looks better than it did in First Class, but at the same time, they do stretch it way too much, man. I mean, I know that you need CG to convince us that these are extravagant effects and all that, but they're just pushing it. The stuff in here looks fake as hell. And I'm sorry, can we please stop it with the destruction in these comic book movies, because it's getting ridiculous. I get it. You gotta blow stuff up to make the battle really seem like it's that goddamn important. But I'm sorry. I'm sick and tired of blowing up bridges in these movies. They did it in The Last Stand, and one of the big moments in this film is where they destroyed the Brooklyn Bridge in New York. It's just like, stop it already. It's just like, if you're gonna blow up bridges, have a point and stop doing it just because it's a cool effect. which sadly this movie does. And then let's get to the main villain of this movie. Oh my god, I hate this character of Apocalypse. God bless Oscar Isaac, he is trying his best to save it, but he's such a generic villain right down to his appearance. And I know when this movie came out, people were already making the comparison, but it's hard not to. He looks like Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie, but except he's blue instead of purple. He's tinted more bluer than purple. I mean, I'm sorry. It's hard to make that It's hard not to make that comparison. It's with a character that is supposed to be taken very seriously here. But not only that, we really don't know anything about this character. Like, what's his backstory? Where did he come from? How the hell is he able to transform his psyche into other people? They won't tell you. They just say, hey, look at this badass dude. You should be afraid of him. Like, no, you can't do that. Give me a backstory about this dude so I can be more intimidated by him. You don't pull this shit with a character like this. You have to build this character up. I'm not expecting you to build it up like they did with Thanos in the Avengers movies, but all I think of is that he's just another person in this world who wants to take over the world. Insert the Raul Julia and Bison Street Fighter clip. Of course! Like, even some of the ways he kills people are so ridiculous. The dude kills people with sand. How the fuck do you kill somebody with sand? Fucking sand! It's physically impossible. Even the Sandman from Spider-Man would even look at this and go like, dude, you are trying way too hard at this. Like, the worst sand could do for you is sting your eyes. Just like, my eyes, I can't see. Like, that's it. Maybe it'll make a wound hurt more but not kill somebody. Oh wait, he doesn't, I'm sorry, no. He doesn't just kill people with sand. No. He can put people on the walls. Literally, he phases people into walls, and yeah, that's it. That's his dominant threat. Wow, you're such a badass. No, you're not. You're the lamest use of the word apocalypse I have ever seen. But hey, it's Marvel, and that's their biggest dilemma with the movies under 20, is no matter what it is, whether it's in the cinematic universe films or whatever the hell Fox was doing at the time, the villains are usually the weakest angles. Surely, it can't get any more cliche or dumb with that. Oh, it does, because even before Apocalypse's main storyline takes center stage, this is the point where it really lost me. And this was before Apocalypse even shows up. The movie has to come up with the cheesiest, corniest way to have Magneto come back to the evil side. In the opening of the movie, Magneto has a daughter with his new wife, and they've started a new life working at a steel mill worker in a factory in Poland. There's an incident where Magneto's power is revealed in the steel mill, and the workers talk to the police. They kill his wife and daughter, not only by accident, but in the stupidest way possible. The cops take his daughter to the middle of the forest. Why are they doing that? No, they don't tell you. And force him to surrender, but as his daughter and wife are reunited, his daughter is revealed to have mutant powers, and one of the cops has a bow and arrow. Like, out of nowhere, fuck the gun, fuck the taser and all that, fuck the pepper spray. Just use a bow and arrow. Where are you going to put it? I'm sure you have one somewhere. I'm sure all cops have that somewhere when they need it for emergencies and all that. And he accidentally strikes his daughter and wife with the arrow that hits them both right in the hearts, coincidentally in the same area where their hearts are at, and kills them off. They went with the stupidest way to make Magneto a bad guy again. And this is like the second of 3 times they've done something like this. And at this point, it's just like, it's no wonder people think that this movie set superhero movies back 20 years, because this does not feel like a real superhero, what superhero movies have become since then. We just had Captain America Civil War. This isn't Batman v Superman levels of stupidity, but it's pretty damn close. Like, this is the type of shit that pushes superhero movies back a long period of time. With all that said, though, there are things about it that are good. There are things about it I do like. I think the cast overall is very good. James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are great to watch as X and Magneto. Jennifer Lawrence will always win me over as Mystique. Evan Peters was good as Quicksilver. The Quicksilver scene in this was really cool. It was a really badass scene. He's saving the people from the school being blown up and it's done in slow motion. That's great. More of that, please. Like, Rose Byrne returning as Moira was pretty cool. Nicholas Hoult as great as Beast. I like the new additions they had. Alexander Shipp as Storm was really good. Olivia Munn and Ben Hardy are good, although they really don't give him much to do in this movie. Everyone was excited to see Olivia Munn as Psylocke in here. She's barely used in the movie. Ty Sheridan as Cyclops was pretty cool. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey was great in this. Cody McPhee as Nightcrawler was pretty good. I mean, even the cameo by Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again, which all of it was good, but it feels rather pointless. I felt like they threw that in there just because everyone loves Wolverine. Like, it's just like, I get it. We love Wolverine, but you know what? We could do an X-Men movie without having him show up every once in a while. Like he really did not need to be there in this movie. But I'll give it this. These newer X-Men movies have become essentially period piece superhero movies. I like that idea of it. First Class takes place in the 60s. Days of Future Past takes place in the 70s, and this one takes place in the 80s. They do a good job of keeping the period in check and making these characters come off as where they'd be compared to what we saw them 20 years prior in First Class. Like, it's a really good idea to make it a period piece style of film here. And while the visual effects aren't looking like overabused CG, they do work very well. You don't have those fake-looking CG effects that hurt X-Men First Class, and that's always a good thing. The biggest problem with this movie is that it's just everything. It's just the things I mentioned before. They're real things that really annoyed the hell out of me. Like, this movie is heavily flawed. The story is not that great. The main villain is a generic, bland villain. CG overabundance. The laziest way to bring somebody back to the dark side overall. Like, I mean, you expect more with Bryan Singer coming back to do this. And, you know, everyone thought that when he did Days of Future Past, it was just like, oh, Bryan Singer's back again. And this movie just proves that, no, he really is not. And even if he directed The Last Stand, this probably would have been the same outcome, even if he directed that. But you do see the signs that Fox was meddling more into this than most people wanted to be, because they were trying to create their own cinematic universe to combat Marvel. And, you know, clearly they can't do the same thing for the X-Men than what Sony did for Spider-Man, bringing them into the MCU. And for Fox, that's apparently not an option for them, at least not yet, at least until a couple years later when Disney would buy them. But, you know, maybe that's why this seems as cluttered and as overloaded as it does, because at this point, if Fox really wanted to make the X-Men stand out on their own, they should just stop making the same generic superhero movies we stopped making 10 years ago. Take chances. Like, you know, if you want to get Bryan Singer to reboot X-Men like how Martin Campbell rebooted James Bond not once but twice. You know, X-Men Apocalypse might signal a future of waning interest in these films if they keep going down the same route, which sure enough it did, because the next two movies they did were Dark Phoenix, which was terrible, and The New Mutants, which I have never seen. Had a cool cover for the Steelbook, which I have, but I've never watched that movie in full, nor do I really intend to. But, you know, at this point, we're probably going to get to it, because it does come out before my cutoff date here. So we'll get to that one eventually in 2020. But if Fox wanted to keep X-Men around, they needed to shake things up. They needed to make more stuff like Deadpool, which was still in theaters. It was still in the top 10 when this was coming out. Like, don't be afraid to give us new stuff here. We'll still see it as long as you plaster the X-Men name on it. Just go nuts. Just don't be afraid to give us something new or different. We can handle it. Apparently, they never took that advice, because the next two movies they did were bad, and then, you know, here comes Marvel to try to save the day, and hopefully they'll do that with the MCU, bringing the X-Men into the fold, starting this holiday season with Avengers Doomsday, and then eventually their own X-Men movie. But so yeah, that's X-Men Apocalypse. So really, really, I mean, it's better than First Class, but it's still not a good movie. It's still really not. But actually, I take that back. I would rather watch First Class again than this. This is probably the worst of this reboot trilogy, now that I think about it. Because even though I don't like First Class as much as everybody else does, there are still things about it that I do still like more than I did in this movie. This is just bad. This is just a really, really disastrous film in general. So, yeah, if that wasn't bad enough, we have another big sequel coming out this weekend, Alice Through the Looking Glass, the sequel to Alice in Wonderland, not directed by Tim Burton. This time they brought in James Bobbin from the Muppets films. So, let's give it a shot. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I mean, they're not going to just immediately lose me right out of the gate with the first lines of the trailer, are they?
Let me see. Excitable, romantic fantasy. Textbook case of female hysteria.
Of course they're going to do that. All right, goodbye, everybody. I'm done. I'll be out of here. I'm going. See you later. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Female hysteria. Even in a story like Alice Through the Looking Glass, that is really fucking stupid. So yes, this is the sequel to Alice in Wonderland, the 2010 movie, which, truth be told, was not a bad movie. It wasn't the greatest, but you know what? Compared to some of the other live-action remakes from Disney we've gotten as of late, could have been worse. Could have been this. So, Alice comes across a magical looking glass that takes her back to Wonderland, where she finds the Mad Hatter, once again played by Johnny Depp, who's acting madder than usual and wants to discover the truth about his family. Alice then travels through time with the Chronosphere, comes across friends and enemies at different points of their lives, and embarks on a race to save the Hatter before time runs out. The villain in this is Sacha Baron Cohen, but they also bring back Helena Bonham Carter as the evil queen again, and, you know, I mean, it says a lot when the best story they've done with the Looking Glass is the one with Mickey Mouse, and it was a 7-minute cartoon back in the 1940s. That's really all you need here. I mean, this movie, talk about desperation to try to create a sequel that was long past the point of anyone really wanted to see it. This is coming 6 years after the original Alice in Wonderland. Like, if you were going to do this, you should have done it at least 3 years after the first movie came out, not 6. I mean, this is just a really lazy movie, but, I mean, there are things about it that I did think were kind of cool. I do like the fact that in the beginning, it's like, that trailer makes you think like, you know, the beginning of the movie is her just in a loony bin because of female hysteria. Just like, no, the movie actually does start off promisingly because it does end up on the note that the first movie did, where, you know, Alice has become the captain of a pirate ship, and, you know, her mother is fully game for that, and, you know, the guy that she was trying to be hooked up with is kind of the main villain in this movie, sort of. Not really a main villain, but he comes back into play here. And early on, I thought, you know, this is actually kind of cool. This is actually kind of interestingly going in a direction that I'm curious about. You know, curiouser and curiouser, if you will. But the problem is, we have to put the focus on the Mad Hatter. He's the main focus of the story, because Johnny Depp is playing him. Of course that's what it is. I mean, for God's sakes, they made the Lone Ranger movie about Johnny Depp's Tonto. The Lone Ranger is a supporting character in a movie that's literally called The Lone Ranger. Like, it's just, nobody wanted to see him return to this character again. Like, hell, at this point, nobody wants to see him do anything again. I mean, but, of course, Disney doesn't want to listen to it, because even though this was a huge bomb for them, costing them $70 million, they said, oh, no, you're going to see more of him, because we're doing another Pirates of the Caribbean movie next year. Like, nobody cares anymore. Just move on. Like, again, kind of like what I said with the X-Men movie. Do something different. Do something that people actually want to see. Like, I mean, this has been a problem with Disney for several years now, even though this movie, yeah, it was a bomb, but they had so many hits at this time, they could just kind of, it's kind of like the equivalent of a tax write-off. It's just like, oh, it's no big deal. We'll just go ahead. Excuse me. Hey, it's no big deal because we got Finding Dory coming out in a couple weeks. We've got the money pouring in. We'll be perfectly fine. But really, the biggest problem with the movie is that there's no creativity to it. There's no real indication of what kind of thing they can do with this concept here. You have a movie where Alice and these people can go back in time. Time travel should always make for an intriguing movie. The only times when that does not work was, of all things, the Guy Ritchie Time Machine... Was it Guy Ritchie or Guy Pearce? The Guy Pearce Time Machine reboot from 2002. Like, if you can't make time travel intriguing, then you have failed miserably. And the worst part about it is, this is written by Linda Wolverton, who wrote one of the greatest Disney projects of all time, the original Beauty and the Beast. She was one of the main writers on that movie, if not the main writer. And, like, it's amazing how much it feels like she's just half-assing it here. I mean, this movie is just a mess. But to its credit, I'll give it this. Yes, visually it looks impressive, but, you know, we always say your visuals don't always make the movie. And I did kind of like Sacha Baron Cohen playing Time in this. I wish they'd given him something more intriguing to do, but, I mean, he's certainly a lot better than Oscar Isaac, and he isn't giving out lines like, you know, we'll build a better world, like that type of, not in this case, you know. There are a couple lines where it's just like, your time is up. Like, I like, like, stuff like that's pretty good, but I wish there was more of that. But unfortunately, there isn't in this movie, and, you know, honestly, this just didn't need to exist right at this point in time. Like, you've gone way past the point where people were demanding an Alice in Wonderland movie. Nobody really cared anymore at this point. Like, it's been done already. Move on to do something else. But, like I said, for Disney, this was just like a bug on them. In a 2016 that included Zootopia, The Jungle Book, Captain America Civil War, Finding Dory, Doctor Strange. They're good. They'll be more than fine. Moana. Yeah, this is just where it's kind of like, oh, got rid of the bug right there. But, yeah, this movie is just, it's pointless. It's absolutely 100% pointless. There's no reason to do it. There's no reason to try to continue this into a series, but they tried, and boy, did it backfire miserably on them. So, not much more to say about that, except, yeah, Alice Through the Looking Glass, just a missed up. Just nothing there. Nothing there. And thus ends another episode of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we'll jump into a brand new month, the month of June 2016, and we'll get at least one good movie from a film that started from a sequel that was actually one of the big surprises of 2014. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, where they're bringing in more elements from the cartoon into this one, including the debut of Krang, and also Bebop and Rocksteady are also in this, as well as Baxter Stockman and Casey Jones. It wasn't a big success compared to the first movie, but I don't know, I still really enjoyed it. The Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies are actually a whole lot better than people made them out to be. I'll say that right now, but we'll touch on that coming up tomorrow. We'll also take a look at, another one of these mopey romantic dramas, this time featuring Emilia Clarke, and not by Nicholas Sparks, Me Before You. And then we have a movie that everybody loves, but I really don't like this movie. Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. So, get your hate mail, get your hate comments ready, because I can't wait to see what you people think of me after I tell you how much I hate this movie, because I do really not like this movie. It's made by the same people that made one of my favorite comedies, Hot Rod, but yeah, this, not so much. But we'll touch on those 3 films coming up tomorrow on the show, and there are 3 films. We're not making any mistakes like we did last week without including the Nice Guys, but anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.